What's happening, everybody? This is Therilos International back with another transfer roundup for you. Big news of the day. The news everyone's buzzing about is Antony, the 24-year-old Brazilian currently on the books at Manchester United. Remember, this is a player that Manchester United spent £86 million on 2 years ago. So massive expectations. He made a name for himself at Ajax, where he scored 24 goals, got 22 assists in 82 appearances. Now, since moving from Amsterdam to Manchester, to say he's failed is probably an understatement. With a price tag close to 90 million, he's a mega flop for Manchester United. He's got 12 goals, 5 assists in 94 appearances since moving to Man United. Now, what are we hearing? We know that any kind of move by Olympiacos for Antony would take the form of a loan deal. Loan deals these days, they always come with an option. Many times the agreed option is never triggered. There's always a negotiation towards the end of a loan when it's a successful one. We saw also what happened with David Carmo last season. We bought him in on a loan deal. Many didn't expect for a transfer to go through. It happened the way it happened via Nottingham Forest, of course. But the reports regarding Antony are that we have made an offer of around 2 million for a 6-month loan deal, plus an option around 16 to 18 million. That's what has been reported. There's been quite a few things going around. On the other hand, yesterday night, the club signaled to us and the media in Greece that there is nothing with Antony. So there's a couple of things to analyze here. It could just be a tactic from Olympiacos to play this down, lower expectations, calm the waters in what would be an extremely difficult negotiation. Antony is available from Manchester United. They're willing to let him go. So there will also be other parties interested in acquiring Antony's services. You've always got to remember also that the way agents play the game, they often use our name, the name of Olympiacos, to try and get better offers from elsewhere as well. So I don't expect this to be going through anytime soon. Again, the club has said there is nothing with Antony at the moment. The second point I want to bring up is, does Olympiacos need a player? Do we need a player like Antony? If it's the Antony we saw at Ajax, hell yeah, we could do with a player like that. Someone that doesn't necessarily conform to a system, but that can create, that can unlock defenses, that can score goals. This guy's 24 years old. He's not a Brazilian that's looking for his pre-retirement paycheck. Does his personality and his appearance worry me a little bit? Yes, it does, particularly knowing how Brazilians love to party and what Greece has to offer. And that's a pretty dangerous cocktail right there. But again, if we're talking about the Antony from Ajax, that's a hell of a player. That's a left foot that can make some magic happen on a pitch. The third and final point regarding Antony that we need to consider, does he fit what the manager is asking for? And here I think the answer is a definite no. Mendilibar likes players that are disciplined, that have a high work rate, players that can stick to a plan, players that are tactically astute. Do any of these traits really match up with Antony's strengths? I'm not so sure. I think Antony is the type of player that would probably give Mendilibar some nightmares. And more importantly, for a player that's going to be coming in to have an immediate impact on a 6-month loan deal, is it even worth the hassle? Can he mold the player into what he wants in that time? Again, not so sure. So whatever way you look at it, this Antony Olympiacos link is complicated. He won't come cheap. He has a salary of 6 million a season that we'd certainly have to contribute towards. There are questions over whether the manager would approve of the transfer. Mendilibar is very clear. He wants one winger. And if we're going to do more business, more than one transfer, we need to offload players. Sergio Oliveira, potentially Doi, Apostolopoulos. And after yesterday's point-blank miss in front of an empty net, Roman Yaremchuk probably on the chopping board as well. Other players have left for less. Hello, Conrad de la Fuente, most recent example. But again, Antony's not the only name we've been hearing about. Olympiacos do want a winger off the top shelf. Now, I don't mean top shelf as in porn style. Top shelf is the term used in Greece for a top of the line player, let's say. So Lorenzo Insigne is one of the players we've been hearing about for a while now. We have been told that the club met his agent in the south side of Athens around the Christmas holidays. The Napoli legend has been playing in the MLS with Toronto in Canada. The last season he played 30 games, getting 70 goals and 7 assists. His contract is up in 2026, so he's got 1 year left. Now, Insigne will turn 34 in June. Is it the right kind of signing? I'm not so sure. Again, I think there's more risk than opportunity here. No resale value. He's getting on. Coming back to Europe from the MLS, not a huge fan of this move. It's a big name, but big name doesn't always translate into performances on the pitch. And we've seen far too many examples of big names that have come and gone from Olympiacos in recent times. The last transfer target I want to talk about is Ivan Jaime. Now, this is one I like. Some of you will remember we tried to sign Ivan Jaime from Famalicão a few seasons ago, but was it last summer Porto got to him? They spent 10 million euro to take him from Famalicão. This is a player that can play out on the wing. He can play behind the striker. He's right-footed. Good age, 24 years of age, turning 25 in September. He has a contract with Porto until 2028. Always a bit of a challenge with Porto, but good news is that historically we do have a good relationship with Porto. We've done quite a bit of business with them. Most recently, of course, with Carmo, and further into the past, Zlatko Zahovic. For those of you that remember, Jose Sá, our goalkeeper, came from Porto after a loan spell. Fernando Bellucci was a player that we sold to Porto, for those that remember the Argentinian Rasta. So there's good line of communication there with Porto, and the word is that Porto has offered him to us on a loan deal this winter. What has he done at Porto? He's played 14 games this season, 8 of those as a starter, scored 4 goals, got a few assists, and last season in 29 appearances for Porto, he only got 1 goal. So he is available. He's at a good age. We could probably get him in on a decent loan deal, negotiate something in the summer if he comes good, and then he'll actually have some resale value to us. So the player is also closer to the specs of what Mendilibar wants from a winger. He has the work rate, he has the technical package, he has the goal scoring ability. I mean, if you look at his stats at Famalicão, a mid-level team in the Portuguese league, before he moved to Porto, he had 16 goal contributions in 33 games for Famalicão. So out of the 3 names I mentioned that have been reported, he's probably the one that I fancy the most, and I have a feeling is the one that the manager fancies the most as well. Before I wrap up, one last thing. Don't sleep on Christopher Velde, ladies and gentlemen. We're out there looking for a winger, and there's always a player, or more than one player, every season that is referred to as the esoteriki metagrafi, the internal transfer. Velde was amazing during preseason. Some people were quick to call him the new Miralas, but since official matches started, he's largely disappointed. The expectations were very high after preseason. He created that. He did that to himself. But with Willian gone now, we saw that he was given the nod yesterday to start against Panathinaikos. He looked pretty good in my view. For me, he was one of our best players. He could have and should have had an assist or 2 yesterday if El Kaabi was more poised with his finishing. He got up for the header that won the penalty. He got the second yellow that led to the red card. Generally looked more lively, including on the defensive side. We saw him pressing more. And Mendilibar gave him an earful when he came off. But to me, that shows that the manager cares. If he didn't care, he wouldn't say anything to him after he brought him off. Probably wouldn't have even started him, given him the opportunity. And after the match, in the press conference, Mendilibar did go out and say that Velde is doing good, he's training well, and that he flipped the switch, which is good for the team, is what he said. So while we're low on numbers at the winger spot, this is a golden opportunity for Velde. So don't forget about him. Regardless, don't worry. Regardless, we will make a move for another winger. But that's all for today's, folks. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Keep up to date with news, interviews, more cool content coming from the channel. If you'd like to support us more, get access to more content, join the community on WhatsApp. Do consider joining our Patreon, link in description below. You can talk to other fans around the world about Olympiacos at any moment during the day. There's always someone to talk to in the WhatsApp group. The Patreon works with 3 different tiers, starting from $1 all the way to $10 a month. So check out more information in the description below. I'm Costa for Thrillos International, by the fans, for the fans. See you next time.